episode 47. It's been a long week, but we're back and we're better. I can honestly say we've had our fair share of mental breakdowns this week. It's been pretty hard, but here we are and we're ready to come with you guys with a nice topic this week. And before we get into that, make sure you follow our socials, which now you can find on Google if you just type in The Way We See It podcast. Will instantly show up. You'll find our Instagram, our Twitter, other platforms that are podcast streams on, including YouTube, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. So you could do that. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell button. So yeah, now we're gonna. Oh wait, I always forget. I have to start switching this up.
Like the order.
Yeah, the topic, and then before we get into the topic. So, me and Ariana just did our weekly check-in with each other, caught up.
It was a long one.
Very long.
It's been a long week.
Very long. Do you want to give them a little insight on how your week has been?
Yeah, just having poor time management skills. But I don't know if I have poor time management skills or is it because I have too much on my schedule that I can't time manage because there's not enough hours in the day. So trying to juggle that. Like today I had a meeting for my internship at 5:30. I had to cancel it because there was traffic because I was working today in the city, and that just threw off my whole day off, and it turned off my mood. I'm better now, but it turned off my mood for a bit.
Yeah, but I hope my stories made you feel a bit better.
Oh yeah, it did. You forget about all that shit.
Ariana's been going through it. I definitely don't think that you have poor time management because, like, at the end of the day, I mean, you'll still get it done. Ariana doesn't look like it, but she definitely gets her assignments done before 11:59 on the dot.
Speaking of assignments, I've been like so stressed. I had to ask for an extension, and I never done before in my entire life of being a student since I was like 3.
Since you were 3 years old.
I've been in school my entire life, and I had to ask for an extension. I was like, Professor, it's been a tough week. She was like, don't worry, I'll give you a week. Really? And I never asked for an extension, like, never.
Actually, now that you say that, I actually was kind of going through it last week because I had so much going on my plate. I kind of forgot that I had a history midterm due. So I thought my history midterm was due this Saturday. And I was like, oh, she's so nice. She's giving us 2 weeks to do this midterm when usually teachers give you a week. Now, I check it last Monday, right before the following weekend comes. And I see that the midterm had passed. She made a report. Good job on the midterm, everybody. And I was like, oh my God. I emailed her and I was so truthful. I said, Miss, I'm so sorry. Like, I've had a lot on my plate. Like, I'm literally in this cycle where I just have work and school and like just whatever else I have to do on the side in general. Yeah. But I totally forgot I had this midterm. I thought it was on this day. Why? I don't know. I even wrote in my planner that it was for that day, and it wasn't at all. So she was like, yeah, I'll give you an extension. I did it ASAP. And my mom helped me too. So my mom was in clutch.
Shout out to those understanding professors because I felt bad even asking because I don't like asking for help, but that's a different topic. It
was kind of cool though because I remember before the semester started, usually you could really tell a lot about a professor through their syllabus. So she seemed pretty strict and pretty like but through the few times I've spoken to her when it came to my assignments and just other things in general, she's always been really sweet and like I got an A in her class, guys. I thought I wasn't gonna get an A, but here I am. Whoop, whoop. But yeah, so it's been a long week. And actually, another thing before we get into this week's topic, Ariana actually said she did this too when she came to my college. But today in my biology class, we started doing a lab. And basically, what my professor told me was that we were going to take a group of virgin flies because they have not been, their DNA hasn't been, messed with. No, it hasn't been messed with. Like, it doesn't have any previous sperm in it from other male flies because flies have eternal reproduction, I think she said. So basically they can have like babies for the rest of their life. Anyway. Exactly. All the freaking time. There's one right now somewhere. So I was gonna take those group of virgin flies, mix them with some male flies, and make them have babies. But still, it was the last thing that I expected to hear in class today. And it was just so funny because she's like, yeah, you're going to take the female flies, put them with the male flies, and we're going to wait for them to do it. And we're going to watch them for the next 5 weeks make those babies and see what traits come from those babies.
I did that same exact project when I was in that class. It was interesting.
Really? Mm-hmm. It was kind of fun, but it was still like, I felt so weird because I remember we dealt with those same flies the very first week of that class, and almost half of the class killed almost all of those flies because we're all a bit too aggressive with the paintbrush when we're moving them to places. So
and they're small. They're like the babies. Like it's not like a full developed fly.
Yeah, but they're mutated. That's why. So it's not like a fly like that. It's a bit smaller. It's like the fruit flies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but still, we were killing them. So she's like, in this lab, try not to kill them.
We killed them because they were so small. Like
no, but one of them kept on jumping on things. And my lab partner, who we said, do not touch the flies because from that first lab, you killed almost all of them. She was looking at the microscope at the flies that we had put to sleep, and one of them was awake and it jumped on her. She said, go away! And she slapped the dog shit out of it. And it was dead after that. But still.
They still haven't changed the curriculum because that was like a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, they're definitely not going to change it for a while. But anyways, getting into this week's topic, it's going to be the cost of living in the U.S., which is a struggle. So why did you want to talk about this? Even though it's kind of a surprise.
Like at least for New York, because I've only known New York because I lived here my whole life. A lot of people have to work multiple jobs to be able to pay their rent, to put food on the table for themselves, for their family, or pay for childcare if they have kids and stuff. And that's not the way to live. I feel like working 3 jobs and not be able to spend time with yourself, spend time with people that you love. And it's just like it's a cycle that people have to go through. And a lot of those people that experience that are people that come to this country for better opportunities. Better opportunities is not working 3 jobs. That's not a life. But a lot of people have to do that, or else they're not gonna survive. They're not, or their family or children are not gonna survive. I know the rent in the city is crazy,
off the roof,
and like the apartments there, they barely have space, barely closet space or anything, and so definitely like the wage here, I guess minimum wage doesn't like equal the living costs in New York, I guess.
I'm gonna actually have a link here that we'll look into later, and basically you type in your region and it tells you like the minimums, like the salary for a majority of the people here, and basically what their salary goes to, like with taxes, expensive children, like whatever else, and then what else, and then the money they have left over for themselves. And fun fact, they said expensive living is easier to, like, you'll still have some money left over if you live here upstate where we live, compared to in the city where it's like,
I agree, bro.
You get nothing back, you have no profit, you have nothing saved. It's like
very bro, I know people who like pay more rent in like a 2-bedroom apartment than what my parents pay in this house. And
exactly.
Pretty roomy.
That's what I say. That's what I say to like my friends and my boyfriend in general. I'm like, honey, you're not gonna tell me that you wanna. I mean, yeah, I would love to move out and be in an apartment that's, you know, just us or my friends and dorm with them or my cousins.
Yeah.
But there's no way my parents pay what they pay for now. This full house that we have here upstate for a studio apartment in Manhattan.
Yeah.
No. A studio apartment in Manhattan's $3K. Yeah, $3,500. So
crazy.
It's so much. But I honestly wanted to talk about it because me working a minimum wage job, not even minimum wage actually, it actually depends on the kind of business that you're working with. Like retail, you get paid based off.
Is minimum wage 15 now or no?
Minimum wage is 15 and up for those working in fast food. For people in retail, depending on your district, it all depends on your district's minimum wage. Because up here, the minimum wage is, last time I checked, $11.75. Where I live in Long Island, it's $14 now. But I know people that work in both of these two areas that are in fast food, and they get paid $15 to $17 an hour.
I wonder why they didn't put the same law for retail.
I don't know. But I know once the new year comes, I'll get paid a few cents more, so it's whatever.
I guess they're still fighting for that. Maybe because I know they were fighting for the 15 minimum wage for a while. Maybe eventually it'll hit retail.
Yeah, they said it is minimum wage in the city, but not throughout all of America. But all of America. But yeah, so that's why I want to really talk about it, because it's like I work this minimum wage job, not even, and it's like I have no money left over just for myself, and it's like I don't even live on my own.
But you also pay a lot of expenses for a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not fully in. Ooh, I just spit. It just went. Excuse me, but I don't live by myself. But still, regardless, I pay a lot of individual expenses. That's not like, oh, I bought myself some jeans. Like, no, the bills be heavy. So I'm like, imagine that now with this minimum wage job. But if I try to move out right now with this minimum wage job, I would have no money. That's living paycheck to paycheck. That's me already as it is, and look at where I'm at.
Even worse. When you move out, the little things you have to pay for: toilet paper,
toothpaste,
garbage bags,
a broom,
cleaning
expenses. Yeah. The dollar store, I'm telling you, the dollar store has some good cleaning products for your bathroom. I'm not gonna lie. The dollar store be hitting. But yeah, basically, we're not getting paid enough, but yet the cost of living is so expensive. We see that with gas and our food. I even went to Walmart the other day. Everything is up by $1.50 now. I'm like, so expensive. Everything. Just stay home. For real. So getting into it, actually before we get into it again, we're gonna split this episode into 2 separate parts. So right now we're just gonna get into some of these things, and then in the next episode we'll continue it and get into a bit more detail about who's fully impacted, what's going on with gas shortages, why we're paying so much, just shortages in general, because there's a shortage for anything these days.
Even when you go to restaurants or any customer service, the service would be hella slow because there's barely people there, and you just gotta be patient. I went to Target the other day. I was waiting on line dumb long, and I was trying to rush to go to my cousin's birthday party.
Oh, that was after I left?
No. That was Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Saturday was her birthday party, and of course I bought the gift the day after.
It's okay. I do the same thing.
And I was in that line for dumb long because it was 2 cashiers open, and everybody and their mother was in Target on a Saturday afternoon, of course. So
it's so annoying. I would have lost it. But yeah, so even me, I remember going to the fair, and excuse me, I'm burping a lot today. I was playing this game with my cousin at one of the stands, and the guy that was managing the games, he said, yeah, there's a shortage on even stuffed animals.
Oh my god.
Cotton. There's a shortage on that. I was just like, wow.
Just like how there's a shortage on PS5s when that was coming out.
PS5s, literally. My store, we have no recyclable bags. No paper bags. Which I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast too. Totally off topic again, as always. But we do this every episode. But I remember when I first went back to work in August, and I went back and all of a sudden we were using plastic bags. I was like, first of all, plastic bags are banned in New York. Why are we doing that? And they said, oh, we're using plastic bags for customers and the paper bags for pickup orders. I said, that makes no sense. If anything, it should be the other way around. But regardless, I'm not for the paper bag. I mean, for the plastic bags. So when the customers came to me, I was giving them paper bags. And, they ended up getting rid of the plastic bags. So they're like, oh, no one's using them anyways anymore. I was like, yeah, because I said something about it. And even when I said it to my managers, they said, shh. I said, no.
You use that voice.
I even said it to my boyfriend. I was like, should I be like one of those people and like call like protective services or something for the environment and like say, yo, this DSW, this store here, they're not cutting it right now, you know? They're not following the law. They're not protecting this earth. But, you know, it helped a lot because they would tell me give a plastic bag. I gave a paper bag. And now, no paper bags.
No plastic bags.
No, we don't have either.
Oh, so so when a customer buys something, what do they put it in?
I put the receipt in the box of their shoe and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry, we have no bags right now. There's a shortage of everything. They're like, yeah, it's okay. They just take it.
They understand.
I had a lady the other day. She was carrying her baby in her arms, and she got 2 pairs of shoes, and she had to carry the baby in like that. I was so happy though that nobody was like causing a problem because I remember before I had left in the summer, there was a customer who started a problem with me and my coworker, and my coworker gave her a garbage bag. She's like, you really want a bag? This is the only bag we have. You want it? Here.
Oh, wow.
And she took it. But okay, so getting to the first one, you can start it. COVID's impact on employment.
Yeah, so we're still going through the pandemic, but since it started last year and now millions of people have lost their jobs or they were let go because of the lockdown or their salary was cut by a lot. And since 2019 to now, people are still struggling to recover from these hardships. In an article where we are primarily using throughout the episode, they stated that unemployment rate jumped in April 2020 to a level not seen since the 1930s.
Which is the Great Depression.
I was about to say that.
Your history, people.
And still stood at 4.8% in September 2021 compared with 3.5% in February 2020. The official unemployment rate, however, understates current job losses.
And so my thoughts about this is, after seeing a lot of these statistics, which we're still going to get into, it's really enlightening to see truly how many people were affected, because it's like, we knew this already. We knew this from the news. We know it from personal experiences and people that we may know that were losing their jobs or experienced pay cuts and all that stuff. But it's so crazy, like, actually seeing these statistics and really seeing like the millions of people that were really affected by this. Like, it's bizarre.
And they still are, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. I know somebody who was just laid off from their job. Even some of my mom, she's still struggling to get a job again. My mom has worked at actual jobs with a full salary since she was in her 20s, and now she's working a minimum wage job.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like,
that's crazy.
It's crazy, the turn of events, really. So then, yeah, the lack of employment has also been in industries that pay low average wages, with the lowest paying industries accounting for 30% of all jobs, but 56% of the jobs lost from February 2020 to September 2021. According to the latest month of Labor Department employment data, jobs were down nearly twice as much in low-paying industries by 5.3% as in medium-wage industries, 3.2%, and more than 6 times as much as in high-wage industries, which is 0.8% during this period. Which is crazy.
So that makes sense that the people who were making the most money most likely didn't lose their jobs.
Yeah. But it's also crazy that, like, you would think that somebody that's working at a specific company or for an industry for a majority of their life would be able to keep their job, but no, even those people are going to let go. So it's like, and this also applies to jobs like retail, like me. You know, that's what they were saying with the low wage jobs. And yeah, so continuing workers who were born outside of the U.S., this includes individuals who are now U.S. citizens, have experienced larger job losses than U.S.-born workers. And I also know this through personal experience with people that I know, like people who actually like don't even need their green cards anymore. I don't know how that works. Do you still need a green card if you're now officially a U.S. citizen?
No, you don't need that.
Yeah, so like they're fine.
You use that like when you're not a citizen.
Okay, so yeah, they're a U.S. citizen now and they got let go from their job, like, last year, maybe in 2020. Already a year after COVID first hit, and it's like, they're not originally from the United States, but they were let go instantly, and they had worked there for 10 years, which is crazy. I know other people who worked for the Department of Labor got let go.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, everybody was getting let go, even if they were just doing something as simple as like the phone call things. What's it?
Yeah, because every time you
customer service
called Department of Labor, it was always like a robot.
Yeah.
They didn't have,
or sometimes it would just be a beep and you don't get into nobody. They say call at this time on the dot, or else you're not gonna ever get connected. And it's like you would think that they would have the workers because you know how many people are calling, but they were letting people go. And that's crazy because I know 2 people that got let go from that specific job right there that answered the phone calls. So but yeah, continuing. And something else that the article said that I'll quote in a second is something we can see so clearly with our own experiences. So I got into that a little bit. What about you?
So how was I financially? So
through you and just other people that you know as well.
So I was unemployed during the pandemic. I got a job opportunity, the job I work in now, in February, a month before. And then after I got...
Of 2020?
Yeah, February 2020 is when I got congratulations, you got accepted to the job.
Yeah, I said a year after the pandemic started. I forgot that the pandemic started in 2020.
Yeah, my memory is...
I'm thinking it started in 2019.
My memory is weird.
It's a blur.
Yeah, it's all a blur. So I didn't get to start my job until October 2020 because of the whole pandemic. So I was unemployed from February because I stopped working my retail job in January, all the way till the summer in June, and then I worked at a summer camp.
That's right after I had met you.
Yeah. Damn. But luckily I was able to get unemployment during that time, which was really nice. I can't think of people who lost their jobs.
Really?
Like people I know personally that lost their jobs.
Pay cuts or anything? Do you know anybody?
Unless they didn't tell me, but
I mean, everybody was pretty much going through it.
Yeah.
And
my dad has his own business, so he wasn't making nothing.
Dinero.
So because his business runs every time a customer pays him, that's his only profit. So obviously he wasn't going to work, so he wasn't making any profit from his business at all.
This is me personally asking you, what does your dad do?
He window tints cars.
Oh, that's nice.
So
maybe I'll ask him to window tint my car. But anything else?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I can't think of anybody personally that I know that lost or that got a paycheck.
Okay, so for me, since the pandemic started till now, my dad, shout out to my daddy, strong man, he's always done the commute from upstate to the city. And sometimes he'll have different locations in the city, so he's all over the place. But he's always left the house at 5 o'clock in the morning, came home 6, 7 o'clock at night, and did that 6 days out of the week, even when the pandemic hit. He actually didn't get pay cut, nothing, didn't lose his job. He was fine. I know the only thing that he did experience during the pandemic was just losing a fellow coworker that he had a friendship with. So that was sad. My mom got let go from her job that she had just started as a supervisor. She got that job March 2020. They let her go in the summer of 2020. So that was that. And that also was a whole thing with just unemployment because of that job specifically. Not trying to out my mom too much, but I know a lot of people that experienced that too. Their jobs were causing problems with these people getting access to their unemployment. So these people literally had no money for a certain amount of time until their jobs were finally ready to fully let them go. So there was that. And then I used to work at Justice, and the Justice little girl store. I don't say anything now because they're gone now. They don't exist. I think they're only online now. But I was working there already for maybe almost a year, and then March came. They said no work for 2 weeks. Next thing I know, I wasn't working for 6 months. So, and I was not getting paid. only people on my job that were getting paid were managers. So that was unfortunate. So
did you get unemployment, right?
I got unemployment, but I didn't get unemployment until like 2 months later.
Yeah.
After, so that was that, and on top of that, my Justice went bankrupt.
Yeah.
So they shut down all their stores and are online only now, apparently. So that's something that I know from personal experience, really. And I know my aunt as a cop, she was
affected too.
No, she didn't. She didn't experience like a pay cut or anything, but you know, just doing the adjustment from in person being a cop to suddenly just being online, it was like weird.
Oh wow!
She was online. She was online all of the time. She was home every day.
Doing like investigations.
Yeah, she was doing her cases with the kids that she deals with, and online. And then eventually, last summer, she started going to work every other day, and then now she's like back to work all the time. Yeah, but still, it's crazy. Like all these things. That's still nothing compared to what people actually experience. Like besides the death of a loved one, people actually like struggling how to pay their rent, almost getting evicted, not being able to feed their families, and it's
being stuck at home. Like, you know, some people don't have the luxury to like have like their own room or like have a space to themselves. They live with, you know, multiple families and in a small apartment.
And sometimes that can either be really overwhelming or sometimes just really overwhelming, mentally draining, especially if you don't really have the best people surrounded with you at that time. So it is a lot besides just employment. So and also side note, all these statistics are based off of the 2020 Census Bureau and have been updated as of today's date. So it's like from then, but they also added additional information going until today's date.
Okay.
So yeah.
So continuing what the article states, the official definition of unemployed leaves out many workers deprived of pay amid the pandemic, including some 1.6 million workers according to the Labor Department. The official definition also omits some 200,000 workers who reported that they had a job, but they were absent from work without pay and lost pay in the last 4 weeks. Like,
that was me.
Yeah. Because their employer closed or lost business due to the coronavirus pandemic. They calculated that. So people who had a job still, but they weren't getting paid, they couldn't apply for unemployment. That's crazy.
That was me. That's what I was saying. Like, I was not able to get unemployment for 2 months because they were like, oh yeah, just like 2 more weeks, maybe 2 weeks we'll come back.
Did unemployed ever compensate for those 2 months that you had a job but weren't getting paid or no?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. But then, still, like, not getting anything for those 2 months, like, that's what deep.
Yeah, but then I remember after I had moved to Long Island and I wasn't working there because my job had put me as terminated. No, not as terminated, that I quit and stuff. I don't think I was able to get unemployment and everything. But then my job told me I was still qualified to get unemployment even as I was working with them now. So I was like, yeah, but I wasn't compensated for those 2 months I didn't work.
Oh, so you weren't?
For the following 2 months after.
Oh.
Once I had moved. So, I don't know. It's a lot.
So, like, obviously, like, the loss of jobs has affected housing, and we touched on food, which we also touched on a bit, and other important necessities. Studies have shown that since December of 2020, there are more people struggling to pay their usual expenses. That wasn't an issue before the pandemic. And then in addition to that, there has not been, people were not able to caught up on rent or have enough money to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know during the pandemic, they had like a thing that the supers, or what do you call them?
Yeah, the supers.
They didn't.
The landlords.
The landlords, yeah. The tenants didn't have to like pay rent because of the pandemic for like a period of time.
I know that was for some people, not everybody.
But
yeah, because some landlords were actually assholes.
And studies that were also done by the Census Bureau showed the American Rescue Plan on March 11, 2021, which included $1,400 payments for most Americans, as well as other assistance was sent to struggling households which actually led to these hardships decreasing.
Did you get that $1,400?
No.
You did?
Because
the relief packages or anything like that? You didn't get none of it?
I think it's because I'm not technically independent yet.
Oh, your parents claim you on taxes? Damn.
But
we're in the same boat.
But in the last tax year, I was independent.
So you didn't get
So,
it?
but I think this based on what tax year they did it. This year's tax years, wait, 2020 tax year, not 2019. So I don't know what
they did it.
All I know, I
based
didn't
off
get
of 2020, because remember tax season, like you had to have your taxes done by January, and then they gave so we did the taxes for by 2020. So I guess it's for the previous year, 2019, all of 2019, and then basically all the relief packages that people got from that tax year.
Now that I think about it, I think I got it, but it was sent to my parents' account, and my parents were nice enough to send it to me.
I got nothing.
Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, it wasn't sent to my account directly, but yeah.
Fun fact: if you didn't get it, it's because your parents claimed you on their taxes, so they got mad bread from you. Literally, my mom got money from me, my brother,
and then there was the child tax credit too. On top of that,
my mom was getting bread from me and my brother. My mom even gave me $300. I'm calling her out. I don't care, but. Yeah, my mom got bread, so, and I think my dad also got it as well, so that's good for them. But yeah, so then continuing, according to cbpp.org, to explain what we said before, food hardship among adults with children also fell after the federal government began issuing monthly payments of the expanded child tax credit on July 15th, along with the improvements in food assistance. Still, nearly 20 million adults live in households that did not get enough to eat, and 12 million adults
renters.
Oh, and 12 million adult renters are behind on rent, and some of the progress from late March appears to have stalled. So it's like they're wonky.
Mm-hmm. So
what's the word?
Like the payment, the payment, and I get the stimulus on top of that, and the child tax credit is helping, but.
Not so much.
There's still a problem. The problem still exists, but it is helping.
It can only help us so much. It's like, okay, so you're using this $1,400 to just say to like catch up on your mortgage, but then it's like you don't have enough money to get food now.
Yeah.
So it's like you could use that money down to get food, but not pay for your house.
And $1,400 is not that much.
Yeah, and it's like
so they could catch up on rent. That's like
yeah, girl, I freaking gained 20 pounds during this pandemic. You know why? Not because there was hella food in my crib. Sometimes there was, sometimes there wasn't. But, like, because everybody is home, you're not doing nothing. You're going to be in your crib. You're going to get bored. You're going to go eat something. Like, you know, so I could definitely see how that's a thing, and it still is a thing, you know? So, and then more statistics of the impact of COVID-19. So the article also stated that based off the census, Black and Latino adults were more than twice as likely as white adults to report that their households did not get enough to eat, and 17% for Black adults and 16% for Latino adults, compared to 6% of white adults. Adults who identify as American Indian, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, or multiracial taken together were more than 3 times as likely than white adults to report that their household did not get enough to eat at 19%.
Yeah, reading that statistics, I'm not surprised of reading the statistics based on race.
Yeah, so
that already shows how race and social class.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the article said too, which I wasn't gonna quote it, but because you know it's common sense. Like from this pandemic, it not only showed us a lot because it gave us time to really see what was going on in the outside world, but it's like you really saw the inequalities that a lot of people face, whether it was with their wages, and just like things like this, you know, because not saying that there aren't low class white people, there are, but they are not the majority. At all. So it's like
yeah, I remember like in the news people were saying that Black people or African American people were dying more at higher rates than the than white people, and like I feel like some people took it as like, oh, like something's wrong with actual black people. The fact that it was dying was like, nah, like it's the inequalities. Like, first of all, black people were most likely working in the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, working in the supermarket. They're essential workers and stuff.
Yeah.
They don't have access to health care, whatever. Like, the reason that they most likely died at higher rates is because of the inequalities, not because something in their DNA or something.
Yeah. And you know what's weird, actually? I saw this, I don't know.
The show. Is it about a show?
Yeah, it is.
Of course. What is it? Is it All American? If it's not that, then forget it.
Stop, you know I have to pee. Wait. If it's not All American, no, it's Shameless.
Oh no.
She's definitely never seen that. I don't fully watch the show anymore, but I was watching it with my boyfriend the other day, and I saw an episode, and it's like, so they live in Chicago, and they live like on the south side, so it's the ghetto. Like, yeah, they have white people there and whatever, but it's like hood, but it was mainly made up of black people, Hispanics, minorities, you know? And what they say, white trash. That's what they say on the show. So there's this girl, she's black, and she's going around the town, the area, to knock on people's doors and try to get people to vote at the following election, to like lower the rent and stuff, so we could bring our black folks back into the community, because like they were all leaving, and she didn't understand why they were leaving and why white people were coming in, and they were rich people at that. So it's like they were taking up the poor neighborhoods.
Gentrification?
Yeah. So, and then she finally comes across one black lady in the town, but she's a rich black lady that's, you know, like not for it. She was like, oh no, why do we even have to do that? And then they had a whole pointless argument about Obama, and she was like, yeah, Obama's from Kenya, and she's like, girl, he's from Hawaii. What are you talking about? So it was like a whole pointless thing, but yeah, like
Isn't
you said,
he half anyway?
I guess so.
What?
But she was trying to say that he's not an American citizen. That's what she was trying to say. She's like, I blame all this rent thing and like these money issues on Obama. It was after his presidency, and she was like, he's not even American. And she was like, he's Hawaiian. He's from Hawaii. But yeah, so it's gentrification, like you said, and it's like, I have seen that in some areas. That alone, with people like the poorer communities suddenly being filled up with people from the richer communities, which also affects them, because it's like now you're affecting their way of living. Yeah, now you're making things higher. Actually, I think they do that in All American too.
They talk about gentrification in Crenshaw.
Yeah. No? Isn't that when Spencer, like, the previous season, not this most season, and he was like, nah, I could give Crenshaw something. I can help you guys with your funds, because they were going to close the schools or something.
Oh, maybe something with the football team? I don't know.
I guess. I don't know. But something like that. Like, you know, so it's just those kinds of things where you really do see who really is the minority and who's really affected. Mm-hmm. But yeah, guys, that basically concludes it for now. We're gonna get into more detail next week, just because, like we said, it's been a long week. We done so right now.
It's already at 38 minutes, so
yeah, we Gucci. And yeah, next week we'll talk more about who's impacted, maybe some other statistics we didn't get into, and then just the shortages and maybe wage increasing because of the pandemic. So,
all right,
yeah.
peace out.
Bye.